this is the fabric rather we are using. Yeah, and we're using this bias for our loop after drafting. So yeah, then this is the measurements right here. Our shoulder is 8, nipple point 11, breast length 14, half length 17. Our full length is 49, hip line 27, bust 37, under bust 32, waist 30, and hip 40. Just so you all see it clearly. Yeah, so the next thing we are doing is to start our drafting. So first start with our full length. So while checking the full length, I realized that our pattern paper won't be enough to get the full length we need. So I'm just going to minus what is on the pattern paper from the actual full length we need, and then work with it. So while drafting on our fabric, while taking it to our fabric, we can now add the remaining length measurements. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So we'll start by taking all our length measurements. Start with our nipple point, which is 11 inches, and that's what we are marking out right now. Then the next is our breast length, which is 14 inches, and we're going to mark it there. So after taking our breast length, we're taking our half length, which is 17 inches. We first mark out our length measurements before marking our width measurement. So that's just all we are doing right here. Our half length is 17 inches and our hip line is 27 inches, which is what we are seeing right here. Make sure your lines are straight to give you the perfect drafting that you need. So after that, we're going to take our shoulder line. Our shoulder line is 8 inches. Then from our shoulder line, we are going to now get our armhole. Getting our armhole, we normally do 2 inches above our nipple point line, and here 2 inches above our nipple point line is 9 inches. By doing this, you are going to actually get a perfect armhole line. So that is just what I'm marking right here. Then connect the lines. So now that we have done our armhole line, the next thing we want to do is to mark out all our width measurements. I'm just trying to label out what these lines are so that nobody gets confused. So that's it. So now on our nipple point line, we are now going to take our bust measurement, and we divide all our width measurement by 4 before adding our allowance. So our bust divided by 4 is 9.25 inches. So what we are going to do here now is to mark our bust on our nipple point line, which is 9.25 inches. Then plus our allowance will be added also. So then our nipple under bust here is 8. So our waist measurement is 7.5. Our hip measurement is 10.25 for our hip here. So the next thing we are going to do is to connect the lines. So that is what I'm going to do here. From our bust, you connect to your under bust, connect to your waist, then from your waist you connect to your hip measurement, and that is just it. So after this, we are going to come up to our armhole line straight, coming straight to our armhole line, and from our armhole we are going to just make a straight line so that you can be accurate with your length. So that's just what I'm doing there. Then after that, we are going to come to our hip line and just take it straight down, and that is how it's supposed to be on our dress, just straight down dress, no curve, nothing at all. Then after this, the next thing we are to do is to add our allowance, and the allowance we are using here is 1.5 inches. So just add the 1.5 inches on every side. So on the under bust and the waist, we are supposed to have a dart allowance of 1 inch. So that's what I'm adding right now. That allowance of 1 inch. So after this, we're now going to connect our lines together. So now that we are done with our body measurements, what we are doing now is to take our armhole allowance. We're adding 1/2 inch down. The 1/2 inch is for your sewing. So we're just going to take it straight. The reason why I mark on this straight line, the reason why I make sure it's a straight line is so that there won't be any errors. So in between this armhole line, we are going to look for the center, and we're just going to take it like that, and then come in by 1/2 inch, just as I'm doing now. Now after coming in by 1/2 inch, on the upper part of your armhole line, you just come down by 1 inch. Now after doing that, from that 1 inch you came down by, you take it down to the half of the armhole, then to your point where your allowance started, using your curve ruler. You can see what I'm doing now. Yeah, so now we are done getting our armhole curve. The next thing we are taking now is our neck width. Our neck width here is 3 inches. We are using 3 inches, and we are going to take it to that 1 inch we marked down on our armhole line to get our shoulder slope. So after doing this, we are now going to take our neck length, and we are using an 8 inches for our neck length here. And then after this, we can now curve our neckline. You can either take a neck curve, or you take a V curve. I'm just trying to make this have a little bit of not too open kind of neck, but a V neck. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So that's just what I did here. We are almost done. The next thing we are doing now is to take our body dart, which is our waist divided by 8 plus a half inches, and we had a 4¼ yeah, so that's just what we are marking here. 4 and so we came up from our under bust line by 2 inches, and then from our waistline we are supposed to come down by 6 inches. But before that, let's get our hip that line also. Let's just mark it down. We are supposed to mark this 4¼ down to the end of our clothes. So now we are coming back to our waists, then we are going to take our 6 inches point, yeah. Then after marking it, we are going to be sure it's correct. It will be like a plus line. So next thing we are doing is to take a straight line from the above the under bust, 2 inches above the under bust, to the 6 inches below the waist, and then we are going to give it our more like an arc, because on the waist we are taking ½ inch in, ½ inch out. So this is just 8, and then from the point where we got our 2 inches above our under bust, we are going to mark it to the point of our armhole, our half armhole line, just as I'm about to do here. And that is it. We are done drafting our body measurements. This is so easy to do. Please, if you have not subscribed, please do well to subscribe to my video. Yeah, so after this we are going to cut. We start with our neck. We are cutting from our neck. Okay guys, so now we are done cutting and this is our pattern. This is our pattern, as you can see. So beautiful. And the next thing we are to do is to transfer this pattern on our fabric. Okay guys, so we have transferred our pattern to our fabric and added our extra inches which we minus just to be able to use our pattern paper. Our pattern paper was a short length, so it wasn't going to give us the full length, remember. So the next thing we are going to do now is to mark out where our loop is going to be. So the point where I want to put my loop is going to be from my nipple point line. I'm going to go up by a 1.5 inch, and then from my waist I'm going to go down by 2 inches. So in total what I was having was a 7 inches. So that's it. Then we are going to just, depending on how many loops you want it to be, you just make it equal, make your points equal. That's mine is going to be 4, so that's just the point you are seeing here. So now that we are done with marking the points on this part of the fabric, the next thing we are doing is to mark it on the second part of the fabric to be equal, the same 1.5 inch above the underbust and then 2 inch below, and then make it to be equal the same way we did the other part of the clothes. After marking it out, we are just going to use our scissors to notch out these points on our fabric so that we won't have to start looking for our points while we want to sew. So here I'm using my scissors to notch the points where I'm going to put my loop. I'm notching it on the fabric itself, and I'll do the same thing on the other parts of the fabric also. So after that we are going to use our bias to create our long loop for our loop and our loop rope here. So that's what I'm doing here. Like, you have to make it to be really long, like really long, depending on how big you are. So that's it. So now that we are done sewing our bias, the next thing we will do is to start measuring out the pieces we need for our loop. I'm going to be using 2 inches each, and on each side, because it's a front and back looping, is going to have total of 8 inches, sorry, 8 pieces. That's 4 pieces on the front, another 4 at the back. So altogether we'll be needing like a 16 piece of this loop. So, and each of them is cut into 2 inches because it's going to be folded just like this. Now that we are done cutting our loop piece, the next thing we want to do is to put them on our fabric. So we're going to bring our clothes piece like this. As you can see, this is the center of our cloth piece, and we are going to put them on our notch lines, the points in which you notched before. We are going to start pinning them there. So yeah, I already pinned this one. We are going to do the same thing on every other one. Okay guys, we are done pinning our loops, and next thing we are going to do is to pin our fabrics, sides of our fabric on it. And that's what I'm doing here, using the points I notched to meet the loop. Make sure that the sides you notch for the loop are equal. Then after that, you can now pin it down to the end of the fabric. You're also pinning the upper part of your fabric, and after you are done, you move over to the other side. So this is it. We are done pinning this side, and we are going to pin down the other side also, using the parts we notched, just like we did the first one. Pin them straight down. Okay guys, now we have gone to sew them together, and this is what we got. So but we can't leave it like that. We are going to notch the back, and then we're going to iron it properly. Remove all your pins and then do a proper ironing. So yeah, this is how to put a loop on your dress. Please, if you've not subscribed, if you're not following us, please do so. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be bringing more classes to this channel, and I hope we learn more. Make sure you iron your dress down, like press it very well. A very good ironing will give you your desired results on this kind of outfit. So make sure you give it a very good press. So this is it, and we are going to do the same thing we did at the front to the back of your dress, and then shape your dress, and that's it. You're done.